Good evening. Good evening. This is In the Paint, the realest show in sports. Thank you all for joining me. I'm Max 611, aka Mark Cunningham. I got my brother Chandler with me, and I see we got two people sitting in the backstage. Y'all ready to join us as well? We'll bring y'all in. We got Dom and the Mad Scientist. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing well. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Good evening,
lot of
What's up, bro?
Got a lot of stuff going on sports-wise tonight, even stuff I didn't know about that maybe we'll get into, and we'll stick to the docket. First up, the New York Yankees, Zach Britton has a bone spur in his elbow and will undergo surgery. What do you guys think is going to happen to the Yankee bullpen and how this will affect them?
Nothing. They have finally. This is the best rotation, including the bullpen, since 2009 that the Yankees have had. When you talk about depth and people who actually can do their jobs, you got Justin Wilson. Darren O'Day is like 8,000 years old, but he still get people out. He's still effective. I said you got Justin Wilson. They got Tony Watson. They could bring in there. I think they finally accepted the fact that Loizaga is a middle reliever. He's not a starter. He's a damn middle reliever. So he's effective in that role as long as you use him properly. I think what it does, though, is it kind of gives them some insurance coming back. Now, as long as it's just a spur and he can come back and everything, Britton was effective last year. I'm not going to say that it's not painful, but it's mitigatable with the other arms that they have.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think the Yankees bullpen is going to be just fine. It's a big blow to lose Zach Britton for an extended period of time. Bone spurs in the elbow are no joke. However, the depth of the bullpen that they have this season, Canada hit it on the nose. This is the best rotation and bullpen the Yankees have had since the last time they won the World Series. You have to remember, when they traded Adam Ottavino to the Red Sox earlier in the offseason, they've repurposed that money and signed Darren O'Day and Justin Wilson. They basically got two for the price of one. So you just added more depth on top of what they have now. In the end, they will be fine. I don't see any issues. If the injury bug were to strike the Yankees again, like it's had the last few seasons, then this is something that we can revisit. But as of right now, losing Britton stings a little, but it doesn't hurt them in the least.
Right.
I agree with everything they said, but here's the thing. Britton will be back.
Mm-hmm.
And if Jermaine, let's be honest, guys, what the Yankees might have to do is extend some of their starters past 5.5 innings. If you could get beyond that, get to the 7th inning, bring somebody in, maybe the 7th, another arm for the 8th, you still got Chapman. So they're right. This is one of the best pitching staffs the Yankees have had in a minute. And is it highly unlikely that Severino comes back?
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, again, like I always say, if he comes back, that's like picking up a pitcher down the stretch without mortgaging the farm. You're getting your own pitcher to come back, should be healthy, down the stretch. Here we go. You know, we ain't seen pitching like this on the Yankees in a minute. I wish R was on the line because he's always talking about our pitching. So we'll see. I don't think Tanaka was a big loss. So I'm putting my money on Jermaine.
Right.
That's what I'm doing.
I mean, Dom pretty much hit it on the nose. I mean, people seem to forget that a couple of years ago, Jermaine, before the crap hit the fan with him, was 18-5.
Yep.
And he was the best starter on the Yankee staff that season, at least the most consistent. His ERA may have been a little high, but that was because he had 2 blow-up starts that were just like beyond awful. Take away those 2 starts, though, the guy was rock solid. Now, you do lose Tanaka, who is a veteran presence. Yeah, we get that. But Tanaka was really like 5-6 innings, and that's it. And you always had to be worried that his elbow was going to go at any given moment. You also they also lost James Paxton, but to me that was addition by subtraction. There's a certain type of mindset you have to have in pitching in New York. Paxton didn't have that, plus the fact that Paxton, just couldn't get it going when he was healthy. I mean, he had control issues. So again, it was addition by subtraction. You look at the one thing the Yankees do have to worry about, and people really don't talk about this. Are you getting the Corey Kluber that was the 2-time Cy Young Award winner, or are you getting the guy that couldn't pitch last year? Are you getting the Jameson Taillon, who 3 years ago was on the verge of being a top 5 pitcher in the National League, or are you getting a guy whose arm is going to go again? That's where the problem may be for the Yankees. The bullpen's not going to be an issue. It's really, can the starters, specifically Kluber and Taillon, stay healthy in order for them to run away with the East?
Well, you don't need Kluber to be that guy. You just need him to be a solid 2, and I think he's going to be a solid 2, because they're not going to pitch at the most. Neither one of them should pitch over 120 innings because neither one of them's pitched in 2 years at a minimum. Taillon is never going to be a 1. He has the talent to be a 1, but he's not a 1. But if you can get him to be a 3 trending towards a 2, because I think his ceiling is a 2, because he tends to fade after around the 6th or 7th inning anyway. Even if he's got a low pitch count, he tends to just run out after around the 7th inning. So if you can have him at 3, and let's be honest, Domingo is the 2. All right, he's the 2. So if Kluber's your 2, then you got Taillon if he pitches like a 3, and your 4th pitcher, and now it's Herman. Davey, right now he's about a 3. He's going to be your 5th starter. You still got the kid. You still got a couple of the other kids. Oh, we didn't even talk about Jordan Montgomery. We didn't talk about Montgomery. So we actually have a solid 6-man rotation if they use them like that, which you guys know I've been advocating for that for years. But if you use these guys properly, you can kind of, because of the innings limit that you have to have on 2 guys coming off almost 2 years of inactivity. Let's call Kluber and Taillon, let's call them 1 pitcher, right? And then you add in Montgomery. That's still, you know what I'm saying? So you don't need them to be great. And plus, I honestly don't want Kluber to be that great because then he might go somewhere else. I want to keep him. So I want him to be just good enough that he'll sign another contract.
Smart move. Well, Dom also mentioned Severino. Now think about this for a second. You have 6 deep right now without Severino in your rotation. How about this? Back in the day, and me and Dom know what back in the day means.
And Chandler.
You had Goose Gossage and Ron Davis chewing up 3 to 4 innings in relief at a time.
Yep.
Then in the 90s and early 2000s, you had the 3-headed monster. You had Stanton, you had Nelson, and you had Rivera. Basically, you had the starters go 6 innings, and you went 7, 8, 9, done. That's it.
Yep.
I mean, they did have other arms, but you still had 3 guys that can do that. Now, picture Severino being your 7, 8 guy and Chapman being your 9th inning guy. Picture this for a second. You're going to have the rest of the relievers to come in and do whatever needs to be done, probably in the 6th inning, and you can mix and match and do all that stuff.
Yep.
Outside of Garrett Cole, you can really see Kluber doing 5-6. You could see Montgomery doing 5-6. You could see Taillon doing 5-6. You could see German probably doing 6-7. And then you can do this with that type of with that type of bullpen.
Yeah.
This is 1996 to 2001 revisited if done properly.
Right.
It's scary when you think about it. It really is. Because I would love to see Severino this year and this year only, before going back into the rotation, be that Mariano Rivera setting up John Wetland type of guy, for this year. But instead of Rivera Wetland, it'll be Severino Chapman. That's scary.
Yeah.
Think about this, guys. If this is any indication, just today, and I know what people say exhibition, but Jermaine pitched 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts. No base on balls, 1 base on ball. And we would all call that, especially my good brother R, oh, it's preseason, exhibition, it's a tune-up. Well, remember, this guy hasn't pitched in almost a year. So if this is a tune-up, and I'll tell you what, guys, there's one guy I know a lot of people, I still like Green. For some reason, I still like him.
He's solid and under the radar. Nobody ever talks about him. Everybody talks about the bad when they bring up Green.
Right.
But in all seriousness, you look at his numbers, they're solid. They're not spectacular, but they're solid. He's the perfect guy that you can slot in anywhere. And the guy can also be like your spot starter in a doubleheader in case you waste a lot of, in case you waste a lot of arms during the first game or something like that. Green to me is like one of those quote unquote unsung heroes that don't get the credit when credit is due. They only look at the times when he were to come in and maybe blow a lead or something like that, when it really wasn't his, when it really wasn't his fault or anything of that nature. I'm just saying, my point is that when you look at the schematic of what the Yankees have this season, and I'm going to say this right now, if they don't win anywhere between 100 and 105 games, it will be a shock to me.
But I will say this, because I'm getting like some of the guys on the line. We've identified the 100 wins. We checked that box off. We did that 2 years in a row, and then get to the big games. And it, like I always say, let's skip over last season with the COVID season, but the last 2 seasons before that, the Yankees fell into the same problem. We itched and bitched about their pitching, but when we came to play, the hitting went south.
Yep.
Let's just keep it real. We could have had the 1990s Braves staff. The hitting went south, home run or bust, and it came back to haunt us every year. We had guys swinging at curveballs in the dugout. Couldn't get out their own way. Some guys weren't even batting their weight. So when we keep talking about the pitching, you remember, guys, the pitching kept us in some of them games. They just couldn't hit.
Right.
We could go into how the Astros cheated and they knew pitches were coming. I'll buy that. But minus them knowing what pitches were coming, the Yankees could have knew what pitches was coming and couldn't hit them. Let's just be honest. We had what was his name? I forgot his name. The guy that was the big home run threat during the regular season. What was his name? Come on, Chandler.
Which one?
It was Garcia.
Not Nomar.
No.
You talking about Stanton, Judge?
No.
Boyd?
No. 2 years ago. The guy that helped us during the regular season.
Gregorius?
Didi, yeah.
No, the home run hitter, the right-handed batter. I think he was from the Dominican Republic or Spanish.
Gary Sanchez?
Encarnacion.
Yeah, Encarnacion.
Right.
Between him and Sanchez, the ball boy was bringing the ball back to the bullpen. He was throwing the ball back to the pitcher. The ball was in the dugout, and they were swinging the curveball. That's what killed us. We could sit here and complain about the pitching, guys, and we had issues pitching. But we have proved in the last couple of years when we get to the big dance, that home run or bust goes away because now you're playing the best team's pitches. It's not a regular season no more. The Yankees got to get beyond that. I'm happy. I'm happy with the staff.
So, Dom, what do you think? Who do you think needs to show up when we need them to show up in the batting order?
Sanchez.
I agree.
Because he got one foot on the banana peel and the other one out the door. We could say what we want about Stanton, but I'll tell you what, he's looking pretty good this spring. And
right, if he's healthy, healthy, and you keep him from getting dinged up and get him to the playoffs, we'll be all right.
Right, and I think if he's even semi-healthy, guys, he needs to be in the field.
Yes,
because he's proven he's had his best years when he played the outfield. Let's not forget, this guy wasn't no slug in the outfield. We tend to forget it was only about 3 years ago he won the MVP.
Yep.
He comes to the Yankees, becomes a DH, and now he's a DH. That's hard for a player, guys, that's used to playing all the time. Their body's in the rhythm. It's in the game. Now you throw him at a DH. He's walking around the dugout all day. Because I don't see who's a better left fielder.
He needs to be loose, especially his legs, and you get that by playing in the field and moving around and not sitting for 30 minutes.
Or an hour. I mean, sometimes it's an hour between at bats. And Dom is right.
I'm going to say Hicks is going to be the key because, Hicks has been getting like rotten apples from the fans for the last couple of years because one, he can't stay healthy, and two, when he was in, he was like almost automatic. I mean, he would have like, points of brilliance, but most of the time he was a dud. So far this spring training, he has impressed me, and this is the Hicks that everybody has expected the last 3-4 years. If he stays healthy and can get into the playoffs, the guy's going to be a 300 hitter and actually steal some bases for the Yankees, which is a lost art unto itself in the game of baseball.
I think he'll be injured again.
Yeah,
I go back to past history.
He will be.
Don't say that.
Hicks.
No, and I like him. Chandler knows I like Hicks.
Yeah, I hate Aaron Hicks, and I never want him resign. But anyway, Hicks, Voit, Torres, those three guys, and I'll include Sanchez in it. Those four guys, right? If you look at their profile of hitters when they started, they were gap-to-gap guys with tremendous power. Okay, all four of them were guys who basically went the other way. Okay, and they put balls in play consistently. All four of them over the last year and a half have turned into boom or bust guys. The Yankees need to let them go back to being what they were when they started, which is guys with tremendous power who were gap-to-gap hitters. They turned them into sluggers. They're not supposed to be sluggers. Okay, if you want to make Sanchez a slugger, okay, then you're losing a lot. But Torres wasn't a slugger. Voit definitely wasn't. The reason Voit started out so well was because he was all he talked about goes the opposite field, goes the opposite field, goes the opposite field. That's all you. Luke Voit goes the opposite field. Okay, now it's Luke strikeout Voit. All right, Gleyber Torres, come on, son. They need to let these guys go back to being actual hitters instead of this launch angle nonsense, which is what is killing us in the playoffs. Because Dom is right. It hasn't been the pitching. Yeah, the pitching is blown up in a couple of games. But if you really look at the losses, it comes down to guys not being able to put a damn ball in play. I ain't even talking about a hit. Just put it in play.
Right.
Just put it in play.
Right. Let's move on a little bit. We lost a great one this weekend. Marvelous Marvin Hagler passed away. One of the great middleweights of all time and one of the best boxers I've ever seen. What are you guys' thoughts on his untimely passing?
Man, Teddy Atlas said it best, that thing, and I don't really watch ESPN like that, but whenever I see Teddy Atlas say something, I'll listen. But Teddy Atlas said everything perfectly, man. He was solid. He would fight you anywhere. You want me to come to your house and fight you? I'll come to your house. We fight out in your front yard. He fought everybody. Some of the names that he brought up, I forgot John Beast Mugabe, when Mugabe was at the height of when he was truly the beast. Okay? Hagler, yeah, I'll come there and fight you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Marvin Hagler, and he was a guy. It wasn't about him needing to flash. Marvin Hagler was just a great boxer. From everything I've ever heard, he was a great human being.
Yeah,
He
good
wasn't one of
man.
those guys beating up people outside the ring and doing nonsense. Listen, his name never gets mentioned enough. We start talking great boxers. We talk great fighters. You talk great boxer, great fighter, great slugger. I don't care. Whatever terminology you want to use. Marvin Hagler was one of the best that ever did it. Okay, I'm putting him up there in the Ali, Joe Louis. That's where he is for me as far as boxing. And his name doesn't get mentioned enough, man. But
No.
man, the memories that man gave me watching ABC boxing when I was a kid, unbelievable.
All right. I'm going to show my age right now. 1979, ABC, Marvin Hagler, Vito Antuofermo.
Oh,
Marvin Hagler's first shot at the middleweight title. I watched that fight as a young kid, and I was so drawn to Marvin Hagler that day. When the decision came down and they ruled it a draw, I'm sitting next to my dad. Now, you got to understand, we're talking about Nick Ficarelli Sr. now. The amount of vitriol coming out of his mouth, and he was saying, how could you give that match a draw? Now, here I am thinking as a young kid, he's going to say Antuofermo won. He goes, Antuofermo should have lost that fight by unanimous decision by 5 points. And I just sat there and I looked at him. I was like, oh, okay. Because again, Vito Antuofermo, Italian American, that type of deal. But when I watched Hagler that fight, he was relentless. He was tough. He took everything Antuofermo threw at him and gave it back to him tenfold. Fast forward to 1980 and watching again on ABC the world middleweight title fight between Hagler and Alan Minter, and the total destruction in 3 rounds of what he did to me. It was absolutely beautiful. And I mean beautiful. But the crap that happened to Hagler, he couldn't even celebrate in the ring because of the amount of stuff that was being thrown in the ring, because the fight was in Britton. Their hero got knocked out, and they were throwing beer bottles and whiskey bottles, you name it, and he had to run out of the ring quicker than you could say boo. And then you watched all his title defenses and who he fought and everything like that. And I sat there and I was like, and you were like, wow, he really, 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 just went to town on everybody. Mustafa Hamsho twice. Yeah. Tony Simpson. Others.
He fought a bunch of people multiple times.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Showing my age, I'm sitting watching when he fought Tommy Hearns, and I love both boxers.
The greatest 9 minutes ever in boxing history.
I'm sitting with my 2 uncles, and I go, why is Tommy smiling? And my uncle goes, because he's about to get knocked out. I said, but he's smiling. He was like, no, he's hurt. And boom, he hit him, and then Tommy's legs wouldn't go out, and he's running around the ring.
And I will forever say, before I go, I will forever say this. He beat Leonard. That decision was the biggest travesty that ever walked the face of the planet. And I'm a fan of Sugar Ray Leonard. I am a fan of Sugar Ray Leonard. Hagler beat him that night. And when he lost and he quit boxing, you knew how serious it was. Here's a story that nobody ever tells, though. Leonard went to Aaron about a year later. Bob, we can make millions on a rematch. Millions. Aaron goes to Hagler. Ray came up to me and said he wants to have a rematch with you. Hagler looked Aaron dead in the eye, and in typical Marvelous Marvin, tell Ray to get a life, and walked away.
I don't blame him because people accuse they accuse certain people of running in the ring, and we all know there's no running in the ring.
Hagler never ran from anything.
I'm not talking about Hagler.
No, I know, but that was the best part. Hagler never ran. He stalked you. What he did, the fight with Duran was quintessential Hagler. And it was what do you call? Nobody really talks. That's the one fight out of Hagler's great fights that he had in the 80s. That's the one fight that never gets enough credit to me. That fight was quintessential Hagler, quintessential Duran. It went 15 rounds. It was great boxing, great slugging, great everything. You knew Hagler won the fight, but my God, that's the one fight I always search for on YouTube to rewatch over and over and over again, because even though Hagler won by unanimous decision, it was still a really close fight that could have gone either way. Hagler just did that much more. And I remember when the 15th round bell sounded, you just saw Duran stare a hole through Hagler and then actually went up to him and said, what do you call it? You could just look at his mouth. That was a great fight. And the respect for what those two had at the end of that fight just showed, two warriors that went at it for 15 rounds. It was beautiful, and it was poetry in motion.
Yeah.
Was Hagler the best that ever went from left-handed to right-handed at a blink of an eye?
Yeah.
And could knock you out both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't
and he was a natural southpaw.
Yes, he was.
That's the thing. It seemed to me like after that is when I started losing my luster for boxing. Because you remember back in them days, you guys went over a litany of fights he had. That's when the best fought the best. Now we don't know who's fighting who. So I give him nothing but respect because he's what kept me going. Like everywhere I went, we used to have to buy the fights and everybody would get together and we'd watch the fights. And it was always when Hagler was fighting, it was like a bunch of soldiers just plowing into somebody's house and just watching this guy go pound for pound like he did against Hearns. We're all watching. I told you the story on the text. Stewart was Tommy Hearns' trainer.
Yeah.
And when he was talking to my son and he said about Hagler being a great fighter, and my son said, he's the guy that hit that Hearns guy and made him skip across the ring. Right. He was Hearns' trainer. He looked at my son like, because my son was a little boy then, but he remembers us all watching the fights together.
Mm-hmm.
But
how old was your son when y'all met Emmanuel Stewart?
86. About 8-9 years old. Yeah,
and little kids have no filter, and they always tell the truth.
The funny thing is, Mark, we're walking around because this doctor friend of my mother's wanted us to come see Lennox Lewis and that. Y'all remember him, Prince Nazi Muhammad, the flashy kid.
Prince Nassim.
Yeah, Nassim, yeah. So we went to see them work out and train, and Emmanuel started pointing to my son. Come here, kid. So he goes over there and he's shooting the breeze, and that's when Dominic brought up Hagler, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't Emmanuel train Hearns? This might not end well, And he just looked at my son and said, yeah, he was a beast. And the conversation switched real quick. He was like, you want to go over there and talk to Lennox? I was embarrassed. I was like, whoa. But he took it. He took it on the chin. The Nazi kid, he was funny because he was like a showman. So he put on a little show. But that was great. But Hagler, man, I'm telling you, to this day, I've never seen anybody go from left hand to right hand and pound somebody like.
I think right now the only person who does it well is Terrence Crawford, who's he switches from southpaw to orthodox to defensive fighter to offensive fighter, and he does it seamlessly. What I wanted to say earlier about running Sugar Ray Leonard, that's what you call running in the ring, because he didn't want no parts of Hagler, and he stayed away. And he threw punches to steal rounds at the end of the rounds when the bell rang to let them know there were like 5-10 seconds left. And Hagler was like, yo, my man, did you come to fight? Or, and then he lost, and Hagler was like, I'm done. And I don't blame him for retiring.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I think he saw the writing on the wall, and what boxing was trending towards and what the division was trending towards. He was like, you know what? I'm good. I've done enough. I'm good. And like I said, he lived a good life, man. And
Yeah.
you know for a lot of boxers, you can't say that, but you can for him, and I'm glad. I mean, even though he died young, in boxing terms, hell, he's ancient. You know what I'm saying?
He was in over 60 fights. 67 fights to be exact. 62 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win by disqualification. Good Lord.
But how long did he hold that title?
He held the middleweight title for a very long time.
Yeah, I keep trying to look it up. It might have been like 7-8 years.
Yep. Almost a decade.
Yeah.
And like we said, he fought Alan Minter. He fought Vito. I used to love Vito Ortofurmo, the bleeding man. Him and Alan Minter, they both bled to death before the end of the fight.
Yep.
Vito started bleeding when you touch gloves. But yeah, Marvin Hagler is one of the most vicious punches we've ever seen, and sad to see him go. We're losing a lot of too many of our good people. Anybody else? I see you, Bishop. You have anything you want to add before we move on? And I see you, Reggie.
Yeah, I mean, you said that Sugar Ray was running in the ring. It's like, yeah, would you want to stand in there and take that punishment? I know what you're capable of. It's like I want a career after this.
I want to live after this.
See, what's funny? A lot of people don't know boxing history. And when we were in our text, and I was texting Carl directly. Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns, they fought Aaron Pryor in the amateurs, and they lost to him. Mm-hmm. When they got to the pros, he was a lightweight, and they were welterweight. So he moved up. As he moved up, and they were always talking, I want to do it again. Let's fight. For whatever reason, Sugar Ray Leonard suddenly, Aaron Pryor moves up to 140, and now Sugar Ray Leonard is fighting at super welterweight at 154. He moves up to welterweight, he's still at 154. Suddenly, Sugar Ray Leonard moves up to 160, which is where Marvin Hagler is sitting. So he picked his poison. And he wanted neither one of them. And Tommy Hearns fought whoever you put in front of him.
Yeah.
And just think, we talked about Roberto Duran. We got Wilfred Benitez, Aaron Pryor, Alexis Arguello, all those guys between 135 and 160. And boxing just was at its peak for me.
Yeah.
In terms of the talent and the fights we got to watch.
Yeah.
Because they all fought each other.
Yep. You got great fights even without them being champions. You got championship fights when no belt was on the line when some of those guys fought. You know what I'm saying? You got championship quality fights because there were so many guys who were capable of being champion around, all in the same division and all willing to fight.
Right.
All willing to fight.
For
Absolutely.
me, Wilfred Benitez is unsung because he was a champ, but he wasn't who they made a star. Mm-hmm. Even though he got in the ring with Sugar Ray Leonard, he got in the ring with Roberto Duran, beat Duran. Go ahead, Reggie.
What happened? Oh, me?
Yes,
yeah. That was back then. That's what you call boxing. To piggyback off what everybody said. People not afraid to fight number one contenders, champions. It didn't matter who it was. Marvin Hagler was going to stand in front of you and fight you. You knew you was in a fight, and like today, you know, you can't get two marquee names fighting against each other today.
Not really.
No, you can't.
It's starting to change a little bit.
It's starting to change, but
we have some good fights.
We're talking about Floyd Mayweather. Now, he's undefeated, allegedly. But I guess you can't be undefeated if you're handpicking your fights.
Okay, but
whoa.
Hold on, Bishop. Whoa. Let me get him. Let me get our brother.
Whoa. Okay.
Let me get our brother first.
No.
Okay.
Oh, hold on, Reggie. But you know, I didn't want.
I'm listening.
I didn't want to go there, but certain people didn't want to fight him.
Well,
I'm talking about the Sugar Shane Mosleys and the Oscar De La Hoyas who told him, "Nah, you know, we can't make a fight with you because you don't have enough clout for me to fight you."
Okay.
Now is that ducking? Because he called him out.
Okay.
Is that ducking though?
I'll give you that.
Okay.
I'll definitely give you that. But
if we go look at his resume, he beat 20-something champions.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay. In their primes?
Some in their primes, some not.
Okay.
But those two ducked him in their primes, and then they fought him when they wanted to make some big money.
But you understand where I'm not. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said it in that respect. Maybe I shouldn't have said it in that respect, but you understand where I'm coming from with it.
Well, yeah.
You know, if this guy is the number one contender and you're not trying to fight me, that's saying a lot.
But it goes hand in hand. They all did it. Manny Pacquiao, he turned down fights with Sugar Ray Leonard. We go look at the middleweights. Roy Jones. Roy Jones was ducking.
Okay, but that's not the era we talking about. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about Marvin Hagler, the Hearns, the Benitez, the Durans. Right. Hey, anybody said they wanted to fight, it was going to be a fight. It was we looking for this amount of money. We looking for they wanted to fight.
Well,
and that's what I'm talking about.
Once bigger money became involved, and then promoters realized, well, you know what? I don't want to waste my fighter fighting Chandler, and it's not for a belt, and it's not for big money because Chandler might whip my ass.
So the money got in the way.
Business, yeah, it's all about the business.
Yeah, but it's about the business. But I thought, we're more about the sport than the business. Just saying.
We are. Go ahead, Bishop. I know you wanted to say something, child brother.
Yeah,
and then you can go. Go ahead, Bishop.
I was just trying to figure out who he ducked. I was just trying to figure out who Floyd ducked.
You know what? People don't give me a straight answer. Reggie, who'd he duck?
Let me see. Didn't he duck Pacquiao?
No,
he didn't wait a minute. He didn't want to fight Pacquiao at a certain point. He waited till Pacquiao got older and said, "Okay, yeah, I'll fight him." Y'all remember that?
He's older than Pacquiao. But
didn't he?
It was money. It was money issue.
And it's
yeah, it's a money issue, and clearly, at Pacquiao's prime, he still was no match for Floyd. At his prime, because the only thing Pacquiao had was he was always like relentless. But as you can see, Floyd, with relentless fighters, it just brings out more of the best in Floyd and his technical skill set.
I'm not taking anything away from Floyd as far as being a fighter. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on him for that. But if you don't have those caliber of boxers like growing up in the 80s that we watched, and I'm sure even earlier than that, where
there was nobody there like that though. There was nobody there.
That's my point. So I'm like, it's like, that's why after the 80s, I fell out of boxing. I couldn't tell you. The only kid I like right now is the left-handed kid, the boy that just came back from that severe injury. Yeah, that's about the only person I can sit here and actually watch right now.
That's the worst one to choose.
Pay no attention
because he's ducking Crawford.
Pay no attention.
He's ducking Crawford.
Pay no attention to the Bishop.
He's been called out several times. He's been called out several times. Called out several times. Ducking Crawford. Before he had the accident, he called him out, and he been calling him out since he got back. It's like, yo, he don't want none of Crawford. He don't want none of that.
Bishop. It's more so who they're connected with.
And that's
Crawford. Right. Crawford is with Aaron. And
that's what Reggie's trying to say, guys. Back in the days when boxing was boxing, you didn't have all this fuckery of who was with this guy, who was with that guy. They put the money on the table and the best guys fought each other. Now you got championship fights where the champ is fighting the third, fourth ranked boxer. How many times have I just put my computer on mute when y'all were talking about boxing? Because we talked about the same thing.
You put it on mute. You turn your camera off. You actually walk away. No.
Yeah, because I would listen to you guys saying, "Well, why ain't this guy fighting this guy? Why ain't that guy fighting that guy?" It's become nothing but. I understand the money aspect, guy. Don't get me wrong. I am a Yankee fan, so I understand the money aspect of sport. But when you ain't got the two best guys fighting, and that's what Reggie's saying. I don't think he's avoiding what a great boxer Mayweather is. But back then, if Mark was number one and Reggie was number two, they were fighting next week.
Right. And number 3 and number 4 fought, and number 2 and number 3 fought.
Exactly. They put all this fuckery aside. He's the best. They got to fight. I don't care how y'all do it, how you make it happen. These two guys are going to fight. Now I'm like Reggie. I lost interest in boxing because I don't know who the hell's boxing. This guy's the 20th ranked boxer. He's fighting the 34th ranked boxer, and he's going to fight the champion. Really? Come on. There's no more step. And first of all, it's 101 divisions. So it's kind of hard to tell who got what belt. And that's even worse, guys. Mark got this belt. Chandler got that belt. But they ain't fighting to unify the belts. So I guess you're happy in your lane. You're happy picking and choosing your fights to keep your belt. But there's 101 belts, guys. I can't even tell you how many belts there are. Never mind who's the champ in each belt. It wasn't that back in the day. They
start making sub belts like the Intercontinental, Regional, South Carolina, North of Virginia champ.
So when you look at boxing, to me, when you looked at boxing from that era, it was more about ego. Like, I'm the better man. I'm the better man. I'm the tougher dude, and I'm gonna whip your ass. Exactly. That's what it was about back then. But now it's more commercial, and then you get who's the biggest draw, who can be the biggest marketing ticket, who's going to be the most outrageous, who are the fans going to come to see, who's charismatic, and so forth.
But is that the boxer's fault, or is that the promoters and the managers' fault?
That's the industry.
It's nobody's fault. But because if you think about it from the boxer standpoint, it's smart because let's be honest, there's not a long shelf life getting punched in the head, right?
Nope.
Your life after for a lot of boxers isn't great.
Right.
Speaking from experience, getting hit in the head a lot tends to have a detrimental effect on you as you get older. So if you're going to do this, why not be smart about it? Why not try to make as much money as you can, take as little punishment as you can? And again, that's not saying you're scared to get hit, but if you're actually pragmatic and smart, and as a businessman, because you're your own entity as a business, you say, what's the most cost-effective way for me to do this, right? Well, if I go with this guy, he's only going to pick certain fights. I'm gonna make a lot of money. Well, after they rate me, you know what I'm saying, the promoter, but I'm still gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna take the least amount of punishment so that when I'm 45, I'll remember my kid's name. You know what I'm saying? So I can't blame them in that aspect. When we look at some of the older fighters, the guys we grew up, when we look at them, we meet them now, and we like, wow, man, some of it is sad seeing some of these guys now and where they are cognitively. So I understand it. I don't like it from a purist standpoint. I want two people staying there and beat each other, senseless in the middle of the ring. But I do understand the business aspect of it and the pragmatics of it. If you're that guy, like I said, you want to be able to remember your damn kids' names when you're 45.
Right. I agree with you.
So you get the last of those kind of fighters like Evander Holyfield and some of them other dudes that would get in there and slug it out.
Yeah.
As you look at him now,
right?
It's like, he answering the question somebody asked him like 2 weeks ago. He's just now answering it today. It's like, you want gravy with that? And he answering that 2 weeks from now. Yeah, I have some gravy. And you tell him hello. It's like,
and due to detriment, Floyd Mayweather is the person who showed you how to make a lot. Well, some of them don't do what he's done, how to make a lot of money and get out with as less damage as possible. Manny Pacquiao, man, he's been in some wars. He's been in a lot of wars. He's still fighting. I don't know why.
Right.
He's made a ton of money. I don't know, but back in like the late 2000s, he had a tax problem. Did the Floyd fight settle all of that? Because you made a lot.
No,
and before the Floyd fight, you were a top earner then. So but then again, we gotta factor in Bob Arum and what Bob Arum took.
Yeah, I mean it's like we started off talking about Hagler, but the golden age of boxing, as much as it was the golden age for us, really it wasn't great for them. You know what I'm saying? No. It wasn't great for them, and I hate Floyd Mayweather, you know that, but he did lay the blueprint on how to use the sport of boxing to your advantage,
right?
Instead of allowing the sport to use you.
Right, and some guys like Adrian Broner, who was in his camp and in his presence, dude, you now making, and after his last performance, I don't think he's a headliner anymore.
AB.
Yeah, because he's never made more than possibly $5 million in a fight. And then he has all kind of other money issues because he likes to party, he gets in trouble. So he's a guy you look at and you say, your career is going to end bad and you're not going to end well in boxing.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
And then you have other guys like the Errol Spencers, the Terrence Crawfords, the Canelos, who seem to not get in trouble, and they're making money. They're not making as much as Floyd has, but they are making bigger money than Adrian Broner, and they seem to know how to navigate and make boxing, how to utilize the business side of boxing and make their coins. Go ahead, Bishop.
Well, no, what I was saying is like, so Floyd made his money by just becoming a villain. People would watch the fights and pay to see the fights just to see him lose. And they were disappointed, but they would come back again and pay to see him lose. Adrian Broner tried to take that blueprint, but he's not that good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's not that good, and he's not as dedicated to his craft as Floyd Mayweather was. And he'll still, as long as he's still able to go in there and
listen, he's a name,
a decent show. Yeah.
He's a name, Bishop, but he's not going to. I think this was his last time you're going to see him as the main attraction.
Yeah, it's like, he'll be that segue guy for an up and coming fighter. He'll be that segue guy. He'll be the pinata for some up and coming guys that they can put on their resume.
What they call a gatekeeper.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is not a good thing to be.
What's the name became after a while? What's this dude that we were talking about him earlier that he was ducking Floyd Mayweather along with Oscar De La Hoya?
Sugar Shane Mosley.
Sugar Shane Mosley, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Become a gatekeeper. It's like, yo, you're gonna get in there, you're gonna be consistent, you're not gonna get knocked out, you ain't gonna do anything crazy, and you ain't, gonna feel yourself and knock out a prospect, you know what I'm saying? Even though you can see the opportunity, but you're gonna play your role. And that's what Broner can do as long as he doesn't keep getting arrested or don't do nothing, really crazy, like playing dice at 3 a.m.
Broner is Broner.
Yeah, he
right after he won his last fight, he said we going to party. And before that, he has said, they need to keep me boxing so I can stay out of trouble. So which one is it, AB?
If the only way you can stay out of trouble is to keep boxing, then you're gonna stay in trouble. So listen, what is it with these dudes? The initials AB, that the fact that they clowns, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Let's move on. Rest in peace to Marvin Hagler. In the paint, rolling along. Joel Embiid has a knee injury. I heard it was a hyperextension and also a bone bruise in his knee. He was on his way to playing at an MVP caliber this season. What do you guys thought on how it will affect Philly and him for the rest of the season and possibly forward?
It's gonna be tough. Well, here's the thing with Doc Rivers teams. They'll be representative. They'll win some games. They'll even win some games that you would think they wouldn't win without him. But it's a Doc Rivers team. I just don't trust Doc Rivers or that team. So I'm going to kind of call it, yeah, it's a blow, but it's not a huge blow. Gives him a couple of weeks off. As long as he, stays relatively away from the Joe Loft Rice joints, you know what I'm saying, and doesn't start sitting there with his foot up eating the Philly cheesesteaks with everything on it, the cheese whiz, you know what I'm saying, the fried onions and all that other stuff. It might actually serve as a nice little break for him. I mean, he is a big guy. So it could be a nice little break for him and allow him to go down the stretch and really impact the game. But listen, he was playing, man. I mean, he was giving us he was giving us the whole bag. All the stuff that we've always said about him, how talented he is. His foot, dude. I've watched games where his footwork was Moses Malone like. I'm talking, you know what I'm saying? I've seen him I saw him do the dream shake over the opposite shoulder. He's been in his bag.
Right. So, Chandler, did you see the play where he faked? I never seen the fake he did. I've never seen it on the court, but he dribbled 2 steps like he was gonna drive, and he turned and ran to the 3 line and shot it, and the dude was lost.
Yeah, I mean, he's been in his bag, so I just hope that he continues to play like that, regardless of what happens. I'm just happy to see him fully realize his potential.
Right, and that's we Bishop was staunch on Philly getting rid of their coach, and we see Doc Rivers is a better coach than the guy he replaced. Right, and he's got all the guys who are integral pieces to Philly playing at a high level. Yeah. Anybody else?
Well, they're going to get a good break because their schedule isn't that great. They got like the Knicks, the Bucks, the Kings, the Warriors. Then they go out west, the Warriors, the Lakers. The key is during his absence, they don't play no back-to-back games.
Okay.
So the schedule is favorable if, let's say, he misses 2 weeks. And with their schedule, 2 weeks might be 5-6 games. I think they still have the best record in the East, or the Nets might tonight if they beat the Knicks. So
hopefully not. I can't stand the Nets now.
If the injury could have happened at a better time, it happened at a better time. So I'm like, I think it was Chandler. I don't trust Doc Rivers. I always said he was highly overrated. So we'll see. Because I don't see them coming out the East. I didn't see them coming out the East with Embiid having an all-star season. The only thing I'm sick of hearing is, I got to give credit where credit is due, though. I'm a Knick fan. I'm to the point now where I don't care if Ben Simmons can't shoot a 3. He does every damn thing else. He's a hell of a defensive player. He's a hell of a rebounder. He's a hell of a passer. He gets his buckets
and he
where
finishes.
He gets his buckets where he gets his buckets. And if he can give you 18 points, getting his buckets where he gets his buckets, just shut up. Appreciate what this guy is doing. And again, I'm not a Sixers fan.
People always want somebody to be something that they're not, and not focus on what they're very good at, especially when it comes to sports. I've had no problem, and y'all know I have no problem with him not shooting threes because he can't make them. So I don't care. I don't want you shooting them. Do what you do best, which is rebound, pass, which is being an all-around player.
Right.
Outside of three-point shooting. We have other people for that.
It's bad. It's too bad Reggie left us because we could have went back to the
still
old
there.
days.
Reggie is still in the queue. No, he did leave. He did leave.
So it would be great to have him because we could go back to the old days. This is, again, guys, this is the NBA we have. You got a hell of a player like this, but because he don't fall into this new wave of jacking up 43s a night, people are saying he's highly overrated. No, he does what he does. Right. There's a lot of guys in the NBA that could only shoot threes. They can't do nothing else.
Right.
Yeah, but you're missing something here. You're missing something here. Nobody's saying he has to shoot threes. He doesn't shoot at all. He only drives to the basket. And when they play good teams, when they get in the playoffs, and they play teams that know how to limit and the ball rotates to him on every single offensive where the clock is running down, and he's like humming, don't want to do it, or looking to pass the ball to somebody else, it hurts your team. When you can't run a pick and roll with one of the most dominant big men in the game, that's a problem. In a league that's pick and pop and pick and roll, that's a problem. It's like when you have him with the ball in his hand, the majority of the game, it stagnates your offense a bit. If Joel Embiid wasn't playing lights out like he playing, the 76ers would be in a situation because that position is not getting what it should be getting from Simmons. And it happens in the playoffs, the regular season, fine, okay. They win the games they're supposed to win. But in the playoffs, when they're playing against real competition, then that's when it comes out.
But Bishop, he has a new coach, and it looks totally different from when that coach coached. Go ahead, Dom.
What Bishop is saying, and I'm not debating it, but he has other pieces around him. You got guys like Harris scoring 20, Curry scoring 14 off the bench, Embiid doing what Embiid's doing. I hate that narrative, the regular season, because that's the NBA's mojo. Let's play 72, 82 games that nobody gives a damn about, and let's just get to the playoffs. So you should just cut the season short, play 60 games, and get right to the playoffs. But I'm just bringing up what this kid actually brings to the table. And he brings a lot, 16, 8, and 8.
Yeah,
there ain't many guys doing that, and on the team,
almost 2 steals a night.
Yeah, and on the team he's playing with, again, when you got Curry giving you what Curry's getting, say what you want about Harris, he's doing what Harris is supposed to do. If everybody does what they're supposed to do, then guess what? His 16, 8, and 8 is like 30 from somebody else that's shooting 12 threes a night. On a good night, they might hit 3. So, and they got the best record in their conference. So, you got to give him some credit. I mean, the kid's a hell of a player. And let's not gloss over his defense.
That's right.
He's a hell of a defensive player. He could check multiple positions.
1 through 5.
I don't care what he is, but he could check multiple positions.
1 through 5.
Not many guys in the NBA could do that. Again, guys, look around the league. Take your best 3-point shooters. And what else do they do?
Nothing.
They don't play no defense. They barely get assists. I mean, again, I'm not going to jump the gun, but the Knicks seem like they think they caught lightning in a bottle with quickly, but this kid's had like 4 assists in 6 games. He's just out there to shoot.
He's not a natural point guard.
No.
Dom, and he's a natural scorer is what he is.
Yes. And that's what he gives you. He's going to give you scoring. He's not a great defensive player. He's not going to get you any assists. So, again, let's just put guys in a box they're in. But the box that Ben Simmons is in is kind of big. because again, he could check the point guard, the shooting guard, the power forward, and he's a hell of a rebounder. He's a damn good passer, and he does what he does. If you expect more from him, then that's not what you're getting.
The thing that I do like about him, again, and I still can't understand why Houston didn't trade for him, why they didn't trade Hardin for him, is because he would have solved about 3 or 4 of their deficits that they need. Mm-hmm. They need defense. They need somebody to control the ball, and they need somebody to get the ball to their shooters, which is they have an abundance of, but they don't have anybody to get them the ball because John Wall is not getting anybody the ball. So it's kind of like I don't understand why they wouldn't trade for him.
Houston is rebuilding and it's over.
And you got a piece that look what you got in the West. You got Kawhi, you got LeBron, you got Luka, you got all these guys that you're gonna need somebody to defend. You're gonna need a player that can defend all of these guys, and they have nobody. Simmons fits the bill for that. Why wouldn't you?
You know why? You know why they didn't trade him to Philly. They was not gonna damn give Daryl. Listen, the owner is not a fan of Daryl Morey. He was not gonna trade James Harden to Philly so that Daryl Morey could be successful. You know that was about ego and have a damn thing to do with the team. They have nothing to do with basketball. That was personal.
So you cut your nose off to spite your face.
Yes, exactly.
Sometimes they do that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're right.
The petty was real. The petty was real, bro.
Right. Again, this is where the NBA loses me with their uncompetitive, system they have here. They don't see it, but it's happening. The ratings are down all across the board. The ratings was down during the All-Star game. I think people, maybe it can't be just me because I'm not all of the ratings. I still subscribe to League Pass. But that being said, your major games, that's where they're getting the bulk of their ratings from. They're nationally televised games. So it's just gotten so weird that, Mark wants to go to Milwaukee. He just signed a contract 10 minutes ago. Well, we're going to find him. Come on. What Bishop is saying, though the Rockets are rebuilding, that would have been a hell of a moving forward to rebuild. Mm-hmm. So now they're stuck in the mud. They'll be stuck in the mud for a minute.
Well, Christian Wood is hurt. Christian Wood is hurt, first of all, which is a huge impact. The kid Wood, because he was coming into his own. But this, I think a large part of, the past couple of seasons up until COVID, they basically showed the same damn 5 teams. Over and over. Now, because of the pandemic, people are actually getting to see more teams this season for a change. You're actually getting to see the Phoenix Suns, the Memphis Grizzlies. You're getting to see the Sacramento Kings. You're getting to see some of the young, exciting talent, the Minnesota Timberwolves. People are actually getting to see Anthony Edwards catch body after body after body after body.
Oh, he had his season high. I think he dropped a 30 piece on somebody.
Yeah,
34.
Or was it 34?
34 against Portland.
Portland. But yeah, so you know what I'm saying? So I think some of these coaches are starting to see that it's not just some of them. A couple of them are starting to see maybe we should do more than just everybody stand the damn 3-point line and shoot. But again, a lot of this comes down to some of these teams. Listen, the petty is real, and they are letting analytics overwhelm. Listen, analytics has a place in sports, but you can't abandon everything else for analytics, and that's what has happened to the NBA for a lot of franchises. But I think teams are starting to see, man, listen, we might want to revisit this. So that's the hope.
Yeah, I couldn't understand that. I was preaching that Hardin was going to. I don't know what that is.
That's Dawn.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Nah, I was preaching that Hardin was going to Philly because it just made more sense. Because then you get Simmons, and it puts everybody in their natural position. That the kid Christian Wood wouldn't have had to play so hard. He wouldn't have to play so many minutes, and he would have been able to get a lot of easy baskets. But it's like, Houston, it's like, yo, you got Victor Oladipo, and now you're looking to move him. So what did you actually get?
They should have took they should have took what's his name from the Nets. That's who they should have took. To me.
Oh, Karras.
They should have took Karras LeVert.
He doesn't fit with them, though. He doesn't fit with them.
Well, listen, they needed a shooter. He's a shooter. They needed somebody who could play the point. He can play the point. He's better than Oladipo.
Listen,
and that's no disrespect to Oladipo because I like Oladipo, but he just, I don't know, wherever team he goes to, he sticks out like a sore thumb except for when he was in Indiana.
Right. But it's Houston is I don't know what they're doing, but I do know this, that we are finding out whether or not Paul Silas can coach. And sometimes coaching, it doesn't have a lot. Sometimes coaching isn't always about the win. I mean, it's about wins and losses, but it's also about how your team handles it, whether guys actually grow and kind of improve in the midst of the losing. Steven Silas is proven that he has the ability to coach if you give him a roster of people who actually want to be there, number one, and not the nonsense that they saddled him with. The nonsense they saddled him with is just ridiculous. First of all, PJ Tucker, take your fat, chunky behind somewhere, okay? Don't nobody want you. That's why they ain't traded for you, okay? You're not that good. You ain't no championship piece, so miss me with the nonsense. But, yeah, Houston, they made the management team, and I'm not going to include Steven Silas in this, the management team they've made some odd choices, and I hope he doesn't pay with his job for the choices that upper management has made, because I just don't understand. Like, why would you sign DeMarcus Cousins only to buy him out? So basically, you brought DeMarcus in to allow him to basically practice, get into shape, so that he could go play for somebody else. And you didn't get anything for it. It's like you didn't even trade him. Like, what the hell, man? What are you doing?
Well, it depends on because from what they were saying, it's like DeMarcus Cousins was having a problem backing up the kid Wood.
Yeah,
he was having the issue, and he was like, and so you just got finished with a malcontent with Hardin, and you're not really that good, so we're not going to take any nonsense from you, so we're going to nip this in the bud. Now, it didn't stop because now you got PJ Tucker,
right?
Who again, but assurances were made to him. Well, from what I was reading, assurances were made to him that they were going to take care of him contract-wise, and it never happened. It never happened.
And Bishop, he had a issue on his prior contract with them,
right?
So it's been contentious for him in Houston. But again, to Chandler's point, you ain't that good, bruh. You only look good because of the situation you were in, and you are a role player. You are a seventh guy. You're a seventh guy. Could make an outside shot occasionally, and you could play some deep. You're a 6'5" power forward. Your job is you as Dom would say, you on a banana peel ready to slip out the league.
Yeah, that's what says management there. I'm not going to blame Steven Silas for a lot of what's going on. I'm blaming upper management, which he has no control over. Because again, why didn't you have this discussion with DeMarcus Cousins before you signed him? Listen, DeMarcus, we love Christian Wood. At some point he's going to start, but what we're going to do, we're going to get you here, man. Listen, you need a job. We need your body. If things go the way we think they're going to go at some point, you're going to wind up as a backup. If that's not good enough at that point, we'll look at moving you on so we can get something for you and we'll get you to a place. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I mean, just this is what good organizations do. You have a conversation with a guy when you sign him. Listen, this is what we envision happening. If you're good with that, come here. If you're not, God bless. We wish you luck. You understand what I'm saying? This is not what they've done. And so that management team in Houston, again, I'm exempting Steven Silas from this because he's not the one. Listen, we know he ain't got no part in these decisions. They are it's like they're sabotaging him intentionally almost.
Well, they're not going to fire him because he just got there. So whatever's happening is like, even if it's a tank season or whatever it is, he just got there. So they can't, you asking him to turn water into wine.
Right.
He's doing the best that he can with the situation that he in, which is the thing that when everybody was saying, hey, why doesn't James Harden do that? Dude, like, he doesn't owe Steven Silas anything. Steven Silas is I mean, he's gonna be good regardless. It's his first season. He's gonna be good regardless. If they win 20 games this season, he's still got a job next season.
We've seen that. We've seen.
No.
We've
Yeah,
seen
brothers-
those guys get fired.
Who else are they gonna get in that position? Who with the personnel that they have? Who else are they gonna get to take that job?
He's on a short leash.
Yeah, he is. He is. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, they'll go sign
gotta
some.
look at what
They'll do like the Timberwolves did. They'll do some nonsense like the Timberwolves did.
Well, the Timberwolves, he was there for a minute. That wasn't his first season.
What I'm saying though is they'll just go sign some assistant, some no-name assistant somewhere. Steven Silas, listen, Steven Silas ain't got no lock on it. Listen, I would not be surprised if by the middle of next season they fired Steven Silas. And I'm not saying that he should be fired. I'm just saying based on what that management is doing and the moves they're making, I can see them trying to make him the scapegoat. You understand what I'm saying? Like that, kind of like, and not to get into football, but kind of like what the Texans are doing with that coach they hired. They hired him so they could fire him. I could see Houston pulling some nonsense like that.
Well, we'll get into that.
The Rockets tried
though.
The Rockets tried both ends of the spectrum. They tried this, it failed. They tried that. The one good thing about Oladipo, if he survives past the 25th of March, he's a free agent. So the Rockets ain't signing him.
He has an expiring
contract. You can see the direction they're going in. Yeah. You see what direction they're going in because now you unstrapped yourself with Westbrook, but you restrapped yourself with Wall. So you basically got Oladipo to fill a roster spot, and ironically, he gets hurt. So if he survives past the 25th of March, his last game will be in May, at least on that team. And then he'll figure out where he's going. PJ Tucker has become a product of that ill system they ran. Where's he going to go and be a 6'5" power forward? Where's he going to go to be that team's total knockdown shooter?
Let's talk about his numbers. PJ Tucker is 34 years old. PJ Tucker is averaging 34 minutes a night and only taking 5 shots a night, shooting 39% from the field, 31% from the three, which is supposed to be his bread and butter. He's making his free throws. He shoots 81% free throws. 6 rebounds a night. You know, he doesn't pass the ball because once the ball goes to him, he's either shooting it or whatever. And he's averaging 6 points a night, 6.9 points a night.
He's a cut rate Draymond Green.
He's a product of that system.
He's a cut rate Draymond Green.
No, he's a below average Draymond Green. Go ahead, Dom.
He again, these guys have become the product of that system that Dan and Tony ran. You're not going to find this no other place. I don't care where you go. You're not going to the Nets. And again, if he survives past the 25th of March, he won't be on the Rockets next year.
Oh wait,
So
I was a little wrong on his numbers.
losing,
Excuse me. He's shooting 41% from the field and 35% on threes, but he is averaging 6.9 points a game.
And you said he's 34 years old.
34 years old.
So
how many rebounds?
Where's he? Yeah, where's he going to go? We're gonna find out, guys, by the 25th of March. They extended the trade deadline. So
I keep seeing rumors that he might wind up. I keep seeing rumors that he may wind up with the Lakers.
Why?
That's one of the rumors.
Why would the Lakers take him? They got 7 guys that can give them 6 rebounds.
Well, he plays defense and he rebounds. So, but I don't see him going. I don't
34
see him
years
going
old.
to the Lakers.
Nah, I didn't know he was that old, Mark. Damn.
Yeah.
He's done. He's done.
Maybe Toronto.
He's done.
Maybe Toronto could use him. I'm trying to think.
Toronto don't need him.
Milwaukee.
No.
I don't. I'm looking at teams that are actually contending. Is the teams I'm looking at. I'm just looking at contending teams. I don't see a fit for him on any team that actually has true championship aspirations. Now, Maybe a Denver Nuggets situation, a veteran who actually can play defense. Because the Nuggets don't play no damn defense. Maybe a Portland situation because they keep losing people left and right. But I don't see him as a fit on a Lakers, a Nets, a Bucks, even the Clippers. I don't see him as a fit there either. So
he could go to the Nets. The Nets need somebody to play defense.
Nah, send him to OKC.
They got one more roster spot. In order, it's like the All-Star game, guys. In order to add somebody, you have to take away somebody. You look at the teams that are, let's say, 1 to 4 in each conference, because those are your top tier teams.
So let me ask y'all this:
I don't see him fitting on none of them.
Would you buy him out?
That's what they'll probably do.
That's what they're gonna have to do because I don't think you get any. First of all, I don't think you get him on a second round pick for him. So you may have to just to get him off, but then you saddling yourself with
his money.
Right. So no, I think you got to trade him, but he winds up going not to a contender, and if he's mad about it, so be it.
He's making about $8 to $9 million a year.
Yeah, that's chump change in the league. That's chump change in the league. And why would any team that doesn't have, that's in the rebuilding mode or that doesn't have any playoff aspirations, why would they want PJ Tucker on their roster? You would probably send him to a team that's in contention because you need some toughness, you need some grittiness. I could see him fitting in with like a Boston.
Well, you know what? He does have some value.
Boston.
He does have some value.
Yeah,
he has an expiring contract. Go ahead, Bishop. I'm sorry.
I was saying I could see him fitting in with like a Boston.
Right.
I could see him fitting in, because you need that grittiness. You need that somebody that's just gonna get after it. And he does get after it. He can play 2, 3s, and 4s. And they had him playing 5s when he was in Houston, but he can guard 2, 3s, and 4s.
Yeah, I hear you, Bishop.
Boston don't need him.
Go ahead, Don. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Boston, they already got.
That's what they missing though. Since Marcus Smart got hurt. Because
so you just gonna leave out Williams, who every time he get on the floor, he gives you about 2 blocks, 2 steals, damn near 10 rebounds in less than 20 minutes.
Right.
So we're gonna put him on the bench for somebody that's 34 years old.
No, I'm saying if you get him coming off the bench to be in that to tough it out, and then in those games where you need like somebody who's gonna stay glued to someone so that they can't get rebounds, and he gonna get you those tough rebounds because neither Tatum or what's the name gets those kind of rebounds. They don't get that. They just score. You know what I'm saying? They don't do all those intangibles, and you need a guy like that. And he don't cost nothing. It's like, yo, he's cheap. He's cheap.
Yeah, I get a similar.
Again, no, Bishop.
I'm sorry. I was looking at last year's numbers. His numbers are actually worse this year.
He ain't playing. He ain't played in a week.
But he's averaging 30 minutes a night.
Sit down.
Right. These are the exact numbers.
He ain't played in a minute.
He's shooting 36% from the field, which is horrible. 31% from the 3 line. Averaging 4.6 rebounds and 4.4 points. Nah, bro.
Where the Rockets messed up,
and he's playing 30 minutes a night. Go ahead, Chandler.
where they messed up was in the beginning of the season, and he was mumbling then, right? When you were moving Hardin, you should have moved him early because he had more value then. The team's rosters are pretty much set. They've identified,
and their rotations are set.
Yeah, they've identified the 1 or 2 spots where they want some depth. And like I said, he honestly doesn't fit on any contenders. And why would a team that's rebuilding want him? Because he's an expiring contract, and he gives you more salary.
Yeah, but if you look at what Mark is saying, when he's playing with Houston, but I'm saying when he's playing with Houston, he's averaging 30 something minutes a game. Mm-hmm. You know what you're getting out of him. You know what he's bringing to the table. He's on the court for 30 minutes. That means he's got to be guarding somebody. He's got to be bringing you something. He's got to be bringing you something, and he doesn't require the ball.
But
he doesn't require the ball.
But
he's not bringing nothing.
But
right,
you know he's capable of that, though. You know he's capable.
For 2 years, he haven't been showing it. This is what I'm saying. Okay, so Boston need him, and that's it. We're going to agree with that. Because I watched Boston Celtics games. They clearly don't need him. They got 4 to 5 small forwards and power forwards that does way better than what he's doing right now. And you think I need him at 34 to come and push state shine? Nah, I'm good.
What's Boston record?
It does not matter. Boston need a center. They don't need an undersized power forward. They got 4 undersized power forwards right now.
Right.
So
you got
that springy.
Boston is 20-18, and they sit in the 5 spot.
You got that springy young dude, that comes in.
I'm taking him all day over PJ Tucker.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying he's got to rest though. You can't have him in the game.
Okay, who backs him up? Another power forward that comes in. I watched their game, so I know they.
Yeah. So they got the African dude.
Me too.
The muscle bound African dude. What's his name?
You're not understanding. They have people to cover each other. So what's the purpose of him being out there?
Right. Got playoff experience.
Listen, they don't need him. They got Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson's garbage.
They got
garbage.
He's better than PJ Tucker. They got Semi Ojale.
Yeah, that's Ojale.
Yeah. Grant Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially him.
Yeah,
but he can't play.
You got Jason Tatum to play power forward. He's really a natural power forward, but he's playing small forward right now.
Right.
Go ahead, Shane.
Right. The minutes are spoken for. The thing is, teams have identified what they need right now because everything is set. PJ Tucker trading him early before teams really identified what they needed, you would have got value for him. Now teams like, I don't need him. I have 7 guys who can do what he does. I have enough guys I can make up what he does because now because I have my rotation set. I understand what my players can do. I have guys in their roles. PJ Tucker only fits on a bad team right now because they need the contract. He doesn't.
I watched some Houston games, and it's like 6'5", whatever he is. They usually put him on the toughest dude because you expendable foul wise or whatever, and he gave them great minutes in the defense.
And what's their record?
And that's what I'm talking about when Houston was Houston, not now.
Okay,
not now.
But these contenders have cheaper guys to do the exact same thing that he can do, and they're bigger than him.
Right.
Not just all that, guys, but like I said in the beginning, when you do addition by subtraction, who are you subtracting? When you put him on him, he ain't going to Boston because they're not looking for a player that caliber. So wherever he goes, who are you subtracting from? These teams we're what, 39, 40 games into the season, guys. Mm-hmm.
They'll get rid of
who are you taking away from?
They'll get rid of one of them little guys. They'll get one of the 13th dudes. They'll get rid of one of those
to buy him out. Let's move on.
Yeah.
The LA Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, he's upset right now. The Clippers got blown out last night by the New Orleans Pelicans. Let's talk about that. What's wrong with Kawhi and what's wrong with the Clippers? Because over the last stretch of games, it's been very, very bad. Go ahead, Don.
What I tell y'all about
from Cali.
Mr. Leonard. What I tell y'all about him? None but smoke. He blew smoke up y'all, but trash. Second man. Not a superstar. Not a leader. Can't do nothing.
Kawhi?
I'm
done. You're talking about Paul George.
Oh.
Right? You're talking about Paul George, right, Don?
I'm talking about both.
Keep it going, bro. I like where you're going. Continue on.
Mr. LeBron stopper. He's a superstar. He's this and he's that. Okay, well, it's your second year. What's your excuse now? None. You need a Tony Parker, a Ginobili, a Duncan, a Kyle Lowry.
Toronto. He should have stayed in Toronto for me, and I said that from jump. You should have stayed in Toronto. they would still be a top contender, and you might be in title contention, but the LA Clippers are just still laughable, even though they got a lot of talent.
They do, and I told people, I said the Denver Nuggets about to kick them out. What happens?
They started the season well, 21-8, but they've been 4-7 since, and they've lost 5 of their last 7 games. They got smoked early in the season by 50 points, and they got smoked last night by 20 by the New Orleans Pelicans. And they were losing by 33 in that game. I watched a lot of that game. I watched from the second quarter on. They got out.
Lonzo looking like a star.
Yeah, they got out muscled. New Orleans wanted it. Obviously, they wanted to prove a point. That was a statement game for them. Tyronn Lue, they say he's been angry a bit this season. And I understand why, because it looks like, Tyronn, you don't know how to coach because you got a really good team.
He doesn't.
And, right, but let me finish. And he's angry. I think he's on the hot seat. If they don't succeed this year, he might get fired.
Yeah, he should. He never should have been hired, first of all. Now, again, I'm no Doc Rivers fan, but Tyronn Lue finagled and maneuvered and got Doc up out there. Now, I said when they hired him, he shouldn't have been hired. He ain't a good coach. Yeah, he coached LeBron. And listen, on that Cleveland team, all right, pretty much any damn body could have coached that team because you had LeBron. Kawhi Leonard is not LeBron James. Whoever said he was, I never said that. He is a great player, all right? If you give him a great team, he can put you over the top. But if you look at that team, that's not a great team. It's not a great team. You're counting on
a bunch of names.
Yeah, it's a bunch of names, and you got, like I said, when I said this early season, what the hell happened to Lou Williams? I don't know what Tyronn Lue did, but he turned Lou Williams into, he ain't Sweet Lou no more. He just Lou. All right. You ran Harold up out there. Whether you like Harold or not, Harold was a big piece of that team.
No, Montrez bounced. Montrez said, "I'm leaving. I see where this is going."
Right. So if you look at it, that team is not a good team, although they get hyped as a good team. They, listen, man. And by the way, Kawhi can leave after this season. So if everybody's saying he shouldn't have went there, he got his money. All right, he got his hype, and now he can leave if he wants. And they stuck with Paul George, who they gave that ridiculous extension to. This is a case of a team. This is a case of somebody getting over their skis, okay, and not realizing that they're over their damn skis. All right, thinking that they're better than they are. The Clippers were not as they were constituted last season. This season, that's not a championship team, but because of the names they have, people want to call them that. Okay, Kawhi Leonard, listen, they getting everything they deserve, and I hate Ty Lue, so he needs to get fired.
Chandler, Larry Drew is an assistant coach on this team.
Oh, Larry's knifing him left and right.
That's why he's angry.
Man, listen, Larry Drew up in Steve Ballmer's office right now. Yo, listen, Steve, I can do better than Ty. You see what I did in Atlanta when I got Mike Woodson up out there. I'm telling you, son. I'm telling you.
And they got I like Roy Rogers. I think it's about time for him to start angling to get a head coaching job. Chauncey Billups is an assistant, and Kenny Atkinson is also an assistant on Tyronn Lue's staff. So
Kenny Atkinson is who I thought should have got that damn job anyway. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Bishop.
Go ahead, Bishop.
I'm saying I think what you're missing in this whole equation is, if you look at the history, this is what I was talking about earlier, Mac. Yep. If you look at the history of the Clippers, they've never done anything. So this is not surprising. This is not surprising. They won two division titles in their 50-year existence. So what were you expecting? You're expecting to overcome decades of ineptitude and mismanagement with two guys, and it's just not. It's the wrong two guys. It's the
What's
wrong
funny
two guys.
is the Clippers always have gotten talented ball players. They just chemistry wise, and it just don't work. And Kawhi Leonard, I'm not a super big Kawhi Leonard fan. I admit he like Chandler said, he's a great player, but he should have stayed in Toronto.
Well, no, I think he should have went to LA, the real LA. That's where I think he should have went.
Go ahead,
He might
from the
still.
Bronx.
The Clippers are like today's society. They're just little whiners. When they're playing good, you don't hear nothing. When it goes south, it's everybody under the sun's fault. Just like society is today. You know, I don't get my way, I'm gonna go in my little crying room and get some tears. Let's knock it off. You know, play ball. This is what you guys signed up for. Remember?
Right.
And I think they in George gets it. George finds his way to the Clippers. This is what y'all wanted.
I think they in salary cap hell.
Yeah.
Nicholas Batum is making $27 million.
Yep.
You got two.
Yeah, he brought that contract with him from Charlotte.
You got two positions on there that they're not getting anything from. They're not getting anything from point guard. They haven't been. They need a point guard that can kind of like score. That's like.
Oh, they got one. What about Reggie Jackson?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, y'all know I'm being facetious.
Yeah, so and then you also, I don't know, like the discontent between last season and this season. I think Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell were the two guys that were the problems, and Lou Williams is still carrying that chip on the shoulder because it's like I watched them play and I'm like, you're not gonna take that shot. You're not even gonna you're gonna pass that up. Like I don't like you passing up a shot and giving it to Reggie Jackson or passing it up, and it's like that's normally your shot. Like this is normally your time, and he just basically playing a role, being a role player, and it's like that's not what we pay you for. But it's like it's crazy, but nothing more than I expect from the Clippers.
Yeah. And you know what? Even with the salary cap issues, I think Kawhi Leonard leaves after this season,
which will open up some money.
Yeah, and they're gonna Lou Williams is gonna have to be moved. They're gonna have to blow this up and start over. And your centerpiece is Paul George. So how good are you actually gonna be? So basically, you'll be the.
Yeah, well, hopefully he's not in the dark place. Sorry, I didn't mean it. I'm not making light of mental illness or anything like that.
I know what you meant. We know what
you're saying. It's like it's crazy.
Hey, this is what him and Paul George wanted. They wanted to go to the Clippers.
That's what I said, Mark. But now that it ain't going your way, you want to play the crying game.
It's Doc Rivers' fault. It's Doc Rivers' fault.
It's Doc Rivers'
fault. Yeah, Doc Rivers is running the bad plays. He not using me the right way. He keep running these plays that I don't feel comfortable in. It's Doc's fault.
Yeah. And that was actually for him, that was the best coach he could have had. And again, very few of us are Doc Rivers fans when it comes to really thinking he's some great coach. But for that team, he was the best coaching fit for that particular squad.
It's like you lucky he was able to separate the professional from the off the court, because you did like wreck his daughter.
Yeah.
So it's like he was still able to maintain his professionalism and coach you as a basketball coach instead of punching you in your face.
Right.
So he want to cry wolf. Oh, I got mental health. You know, I gotta go to counseling. Man, shut your punk ass up.
You know,
he makes it bad for everybody that does have issues. That's what's sad.
Yeah. Who y'all talking about? Who does that?
Paul George.
Paul George.
I'm in the dark place. Dude, you sit up there and did that to his daughter. Just man up and play ball.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that's what it was. It was over the women. I'm telling you, that's all it was. As soon as that got out to the public, The dude just started playing funny. You like, what is wrong with you?
Dom, do you sense a pattern with Paul George? Isn't that what broke up the Indiana Pacers? Somebody's girl was getting smashed by another player or players
I'm starting to see it now.
Not that I want to take it there, but man. You know.
Yeah.
Listen, he's Paul George makes excuse after excuse after excuse after. It's never his fault. There's always something else. It ain't me, it's this. But like I said, the Clippers are stuck with him now with that damn extension they gave him that they didn't even need to give him, mind you. Okay. So if you want to make Paul George the centerpiece of your team, enjoy what comes with that. Okay.
Man, he finessed 2 teams with an extension, OKC and the Clippers. That's crazy.
Now, taking all of that aside, when Paul George is on, he's one of the premier players in this league.
In the regular season,
he's one of the premier players in the league. And again, he can ball.
Yes,
but from the time that the Clippers started talking all of this nonsense about championship and this and that, and we're the other LA team. We need take their banners down. We need our own building and championship contention from last season.
Their building is coming though. It's being built.
But I'm just saying, just talking all of this reckless talk.
Oh, yeah, they working on it. I seen it.
It's like, you know what? Like, you guys haven't done anything. So what are you saying? Like. So you going from 0 to like the championship, like now? Like
it's
really?
all
Like
to compete with LeBron. Listen, everybody wants to be LeBron. You just got to accept that, man.
And they don't know how to be LeBron.
Yeah, and the Clippers is even stupid for signing Patrick Beverley all that money. I would have told him, listen, bro, you want this money, you got to go.
Yeah.
Because, you always injured. You really can't score. I mean, I like your energy, but nah, I just saved this money for somebody else. They could have got a better point guard than him.
Yep. And you know what, Bishop? what the Clippers did is what people do these days to get famous. They talked a lot. They were on social media. They did basically with all of the commercials and the hype from the hype machine. That is the NBA partners, which is TNT and ESPN from their de facto PR firms, right? They hyped them up. They got them in a new arena, which means they made Steve Ballmer a butthole full of money because that the tax breaks come with a new arena. So Steve Ballmer, from a business sense, got everything he wanted out of this. He got everything he wanted. He got a new arena. He's got hype after. Listen, people they're gonna still be talking about the Clippers a championship contender next season, even though we all know they ain't close to be the championship contender this season, and they're gonna be worse next season. They still be talking about them. They're gonna be on TV all the time. There's more jersey sales. So from a purely business standpoint, he got everything he wanted. From a basketball standpoint, you also got exactly what you asked for.
But Chandler, he's playing in a big market. What did he's taking a page out of what the Knicks used to do, which is, hey, let's get a collection of big names.
Yep.
Let's get any name and let's put that out there and watch our fans
go crazy,
run and go.
Yeah. Fantasy basketball points, those guys are killing in fantasy basketball. All right. You want to have some Clippers on your team for your fantasy basketball team. They fill up the boxes. They're not winning games.
They are overpaying for Nicholas Batum, Serge Ibaka, who I like Serge Ibaka. I feel bad that he went there to that team. Marcus Morris is Marcus Morris, so he's being paid what he's worth. But they just let me just
say one more thing about Paul George. Paul George is an embarrassment to everybody that suffers from mental illness. Because if you could go from mental illness to having 2 games and your mental illness is cured, just think what that could do for somebody with real mental illness. I have 2 good days of my life and it's all over. He's an embarrassment. He needs to sit down, or as they say in the South, sat down and just shut up. Just play ball. You are a basketball player. You ain't curing world hunger. You're a basketball player. You embarrassed everybody that suffers from mental illness. And I'm pretty sure me and Chandler know quite a few of them. So you have 2 good days in your life, and you ain't heard nothing else about it. He was instantly cured. You're an embarrassment, man. Just sit down and shut up. That's all. Just sit down.
And with that, we're going to move to Dom's favorite team and Bishop's favorite player on the New York Knicks. Oh. New York Knicks' second-year shooting guard, R.J. Barrett, reaches his career high. Will we see more of this in the future from him?
Go ahead, Bishop.
Yeah.
Come with the hate.
No, I'm extremely excited and ecstatic that he scored and people are talking about him because that increases his trade value. So that when we go for Bradley Beal or one of these other primetime players, that we don't have to give up
Beal
much.
Ain't going nowhere.
We don't have to give up much because they're looking at R.J. Barrett as the future, of a franchise, and he'll fit in with one of those ragtag franchises like Washington or whatever. He'll fit right in there, be stable or whatever, and we can get somebody in here who's going to be consistent. So the thing that was really, took me aback is like, how many games have we played in the season? We played 39 games. Yep. And in the last 6 out of the 39 games, he's been averaging like 20 points or whatever. He's been, in a good stretch, 6 out of the 39 games, and everybody's all excited. I'm still not an RJ Barrett fan. I still want to trade him. I still want to get Bradley Beal. I would even go so far as to get the kid from Chicago, Zach LaVine.
Oh God, stop.
And include him in that deal. So I'm still not an RJ Barrett fan.
Rebutterize him.
No, I'm not, because I hate RJ Barrett, but Zach LaVine ain't that much better. That's kind of
he is. He's averaging 27 points a game.
Ooh. Zach LaVine on a bad team where all he does is get the listen. Zach LaVine is not somebody that you want on the Knicks. I'm gonna tell you that right now. You don't want Zach LaVine.
He played with Tom Thibodeau, and he's had the best. He had the best seasons under Tom Thibodeau.
Zach LaVine is not someone you want on the Knicks. Okay, but
I don't know.
I don't mind the RJ Barrett trade talk, because y'all know I don't like the entire Barrett family. I don't like the dog walker. I don't like the second grade teacher. I don't like the nanny.
You said you don't like the.
I don't like anybody associated with the Barretts. Okay, I don't like the dog.
But Dom, he on some BS, because on the low, RJ Barrett is not his father, and he's been playing well all season.
I don't care, but I don't mind the RJ Barrett trade talk. I think he can be moved. I don't think he's ever going to be a good shooter.
Nope.
But what I think, though, this is based on the coach that the Knicks have. I think he fits what that coach wants, and I think the coach likes him. And if Tibbs has his way, I think RJ Barrett stays on the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah, but you see how Tibbs is loyal to the people who he's played with that have been successful under his coaching. Zach LaVine has been extremely successful playing under Tibbs. Extremely. Like Zach LaVine.
Think he likes Zach LaVine, though.
Yeah. But I'm just mentioning. I'm primarily focusing on Bradley Beal. On Bradley Beal.
Bishop, he's not leaving Washington no time soon. Not this year.
Yeah, he's not. I mean,
he said he want to stay there, and
it's not a matter of what he wants to do. It's not a matter of what he wants to do, dude. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense to keep a player making that much money on a team that is 3 to 5 seasons away from even making any kind of relevancy in the league. It just doesn't matter.
Maybe Bill just want to play ball, man. That's how I'm looking at it. Like,
yeah, whether he playing in Washington or whether he playing in New York, he's still playing ball.
I don't think Washington is moving
you guys.
Go ahead, Don. I'm sorry.
Hold on, fellas. Hold on, Don. Hold on, before you start. Bradley Beal has a 15% trade kicker, and he has a partial no trade clause.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let me just touch on two quick things. I told you guys about a month ago. It's only a minute before the Wizards were going to have a yard sale. We can say Bradley Beal ain't going here, ain't going there. And when you start talking trade kicker and money, Knicks got money. The Knicks are already $20 million under the cap. They haven't even reached the cap, let alone going into the luxury tax. So if a team could afford him, it's the Knicks.
Yep.
And he's going to go somewhere. He's got to go somewhere, guys. There ain't no way in hell. I don't care what he says. James Hardin signed an extension 5 minutes before he asked out of Houston. We know how this game goes. He's got to go somewhere. Why not the Knicks? And as far as what Bishop said about Levine, I would trade R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Frank Ntilikina, and throw in another player if you have to.
Chicago don't want those people after RJ that you just named.
But money-wise, money
sometimes
to match the salary.
It don't. Right? Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it don't matter who you get. It's about dollars and cents. So if the dollars and cents add up, then you take what you can get.
But would you take back?
That's just the bottom line.
Would you take back Kevin Knox, and would you take back Frank Ntilikina if you were a team?
Expiring contracts.
Expiring contracts.
Okay.
This is their last year.
Okay.
So depending on where you're going, Mark. Like, let's just say the Wizards, for example. We know they haven't gone nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They tried the big splash, getting Westbrook, the Wall. It didn't work. They played good. They had a good stretch. But we all know, anybody that watches basketball knows they're not going nowhere. So why would you torment somebody? Believe me, by the end of this year or this trade deadline, Zach LaVine possibly, Beal highly likely, and Karl Anthony Towns. These guys are going to end up somewhere very soon because their teams are going to be just like the Rockets was trying to do. They were trying to bank all them picks, not the Rockets, OKC. They kept trying to bank picks. And guess what? If that's the direction you're going in, then the players you got don't fit in. The Bulls are playing good. They're at least decent.
They are. We just need a center. We just need a solid center.
They gotta
go.
Do
you think Zach LaVine is going to be a trade piece for your team, the Chicago Bulls?
You know it.
Or they're going to keep him?
Chicago Bulls. If they would have had a chance to trade Jordan, they would have traded him. Mm-hmm. So Chicago Bulls ain't trying to keep nobody. I want them to keep Zach LaVine and just give him a nice piece that's a center, and one more lockdown defender. But you know, if they don't keep him, they don't keep him. I just say we keep him. And RJ Barrett, only reason why I don't like him is because when this dummy got drafted, he said he was gonna dunk on Porzingis, and I just didn't understand why would you say that. I mean, that was the dumbest shit I ever heard out of somebody's mouth on draft night. Yeah. I'm gonna dunk on Porzingis, and I'm like,
he from Duke. What'd you expect?
What the fuck? Bro, you just got drafted to the New York Knicks. Like, relax, bro.
Yeah.
So I guess he was trying to feed into the Porzingis and New York Knicks beef because I don't know, man.
He's trying to endear himself to our fan base.
Right there it would turn me off. I cut off communication for the rest of my life because I'm like, bro, I don't understand that way of thinking, bro. That's kind of lame and stupid. Like, be yourself, man.
Right. Zach LaVine's been playing very efficient this year.
Yep.
He's averaging 52%. He's averaging 52% from the field, 43% from the 3 line, 85% from the free throw line. 5 of 5. He's averaging 28, 5 and 5.
Hey, I'm gonna guarantee y'all something right now. Okay, this is being recorded. I'm guaranteeing this. Okay,
Right.
and on the 25th or the 26th, Mac, we need to have a show on the 26th. Okay, Zach LaVine ain't getting traded. Bradley Beal is not getting traded.
Listen, the bishop told you guys before that James Harden would fit in with New Jersey, with Brooklyn, and you told me no.
No,
Did you not tell me no?
You
told me no.
You also
You
was
told me
one
no.
of those who said it
You
wouldn't
told me
work
no.
at first.
You told me no. No. I said James Harden can do anything he wants on the basketball court.
and
That's
we
what I said.
And
you said,
I said,
all you guys
no.
kept saying was, well, he can't, he won't be able to adjust. He's used to that dribbling, jacking. And I said, yo, James Harden can play with whomever. He can do whatever he wants on the court. Whatever he wants on the court.
Except play defense.
Untrue, Bishop, because what I said to you in response to that was, I didn't know if he was willing to go back to being the guy he was in Oklahoma City.
Right.
We could pull that episode up. Okay. I said he could do it, but I didn't know if he would do it. That's exactly what I said. I didn't say that he couldn't.
No, all right. You guys were like, yeah, he won't be able to do it. He won't be able to do it. And I was
untrue.
But be that as it may, I hate Brooklyn anyway. So I that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
The point that I was trying to make is, if you look at the math, if you look at, like, where's Washington going? Like with Bradley Beal on their roster, right? With Bradley Beal on their roster before the pandemic happened, their stadium was like half full. That's with him on the roster.
I'm not saying they shouldn't trade him, Bishop. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they shouldn't trade him. I'm telling you that they're not going to.
Why wouldn't they?
Because they're not. Because it's the Wizards.
Oh,
and he's their only star.
Ineptitude of it, but they don't need a star.
We went over this once before because you pulled up the numbers, Mark. They've been down this merry-go-round for quite some time. There's WNBA teams drawing as much a crowd as they are. So what is their return in his whatever contract is? You're not becoming a better team. You're not drawing very well. We already identified the NBA's ratings overall have gone down. So what's their ratings doing in their local network?
Why did the Rockets?
It's like a damned if you do and a super damned if you don't.
Right.
Because at least you could look a few steps ahead. You got Bradley Beal now, who there's no knock against him. With all Bradley Beal has done, he still has not gotten them out of the doldrum. So while you're staying in the doldrum, cut some of your salary, get you some draft picks, and move forward. You know, I'm not saying you'll become the Minnesota Timberwolves or Sacramento Kings. You might be able to keep your head above water for a minute, or say semi-competitive. But as they stand right now, they're still not doing none of that, guys, with Bradley Beal. So why did the Rockets, poor young man?
Because why did the Rockets not send Hardin to Philly? It was ego and petty, right? It was ego and petty. This ain't petty, but it's ego. They are not going to trade him. They are not going to. The Wizards are not going to trade Bradley Beal because of ego. They are insisting upon making the stupid contract that they gave him look like they knew what they were doing. I'm not saying they shouldn't trade him. I'm not disagreeing with anything y'all said. I'm telling you, the people who run that team are not trading him simply because of ego.
What's that Ernie Grunfeld? Ernie Grunfeld is no longer there. It's like, if you look at their roster,
the owner's still there.
If you look at their roster, but I'm saying, if you look at their roster, all of their guys on the roster are young guys, or young up and coming guys. So you get yourself a young up and coming. You're gonna have some guards coming out. You get yourself a young backcourt with them young forwards that they got, and you ride it out and you let these guys grow together. But Bradley Beal doesn't fit into that. You got to get rid of Westbrook. You got to get rid of Westbrook, and you get rid of Bradley Beal. And the good thing is Bradley Beal is a model citizen, so there's no animosity to move him to a place where he can play some competitive basketball.
I don't disagree with you.
He's been a model citizen.
Right.
He did curse the other day.
He's on record as saying he wanted to stay in Washington.
Yes. He won't get traded this season.
Yeah.
He might get traded next season.
They all
He might
say
be
that.
traded next season.
They
He's not
do.
getting traded this season. Not getting traded this season.
Well, next season isn't he up next season?
No, he signed an
that's when
extension.
the extension kicks in.
Yeah.
So he's got how many seasons left?
Like 4 or 5.
So
Not that many. But
No,
Nah, probably
even
three.
if it's 2, if let's say 3,
Okay.
Bradley Beal is making how much money is Bradley Beal making? He's making about $30 million a year.
36 million.
Yeah.
36 million.
Yep.
36 million. Why would you, in God's green earth, be paying $36 million a year to a player that you are not even going to break even? You're not even 500 team. You're not even a 500 team.
Because it's the Wizards, bro. I'm not
like,
disagreeing with anything you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Mark, look it up because I think we did last time. The
A comparison.
owner of the Wizards hasn't owned the team that long.
Which means that he's not.
We went over this last time we was talking about this.
And I keep saying the same thing. They are not trading him. If they trade him, it'll be next year. But this year, they are not going to trade him this season. I'm telling you.
Well, that's kind of an oxymoron, though, Chandler, because if you're going to trade him next season,
you get less.
Then
I said if.
Next
I said
season,
if they trade him. I said if.
Right. Not just that, but let's just say this. Their next season starts after March 25th.
Yes.
Because this season is over. So if you could hit pay dirt now.
He's got 3 years left with them. He's making 28 this year. 21-22 next year. He'll make almost 35 million a year. In the last year of his contract, he'll make 37 million, and he'll be 29
if they trade him. That's when they trade him. If they trade him, which I don't believe they will, that's when they move him. Is in the last year of that contract.
So you mean to tell me? Wait,
that would be asinine because guess what? The teams that may want him now may give up more now. And when you look at the Knicks, guys, when they're already 20 million under the cap, so they're going to trade pieces to get Bradley Beal. So the money is going to come out even where the Knicks still might not be in the luxury tax.
I'm not
they could possibly get somebody else.
I'm not disagreeing
but their
with
season
you.
is over.
Okay, and y'all not hearing me. This organization, the Washington Wizards organization, is going to screw this up. This is what I keep saying, I keep saying it differently, and y'all not listening. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not saying that they shouldn't trade him. I'm just telling you that they're not.
Okay.
I think they're going to be trapped, Chandler. I think they're going to sit back and they're going to weigh what they can do this year as opposed to what they can do next year. Going into next season, it's going to be hard because nobody's really in no hunt or nobody really thinks they need somebody right now. So even if you want to give up Beal, they're not going to go head over heels. And again, in the Knicks position, the Knicks could give up, again, let's just say a Barrett, Knox, Ntilikina, and 2 draft picks. This is what the Wizards need because guess what? Knox and Ntilikina, they'll come off the books. But you still have those 2 draft picks. You might not get that deal next year.
No, because the smart thing to do would have been to trade Beal before the season started. That would have been the smart thing to do.
Well, they thought they wanted to give Beal and they wanted to give that a chance. And Westbrook, they wanted to give that a chance, and then it didn't pan out. And then you got the Bryant kid, he got hurt. But if you think about it, if they got an RJ Barrett with the young core that they got, now you got a 2 years of experience that you get in a backcourt player. Yeah, maybe he can't shoot. But this is his second year, and on some nights he might be capable of giving you 20 points, 25 points, maybe even 30 on some nights. He ain't giving it to you every night, but on some nights he may luck up and give you that. But at least you got a young core that you can build with, and you got draft picks.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I don't disagree with any of that. But if I'm the Wizards right now, and I already missed my window to trade Bradley Beal, I don't trade him this season. If I'm going to trade him, I want to see the draft order. I want to see who has draft picks. who has the number 1 pick, who has number 2, who I know is going to be bad for a couple of years, so I'm going to keep getting high draft picks from them. Okay. If I'm going to move him, I don't move him until around draft time, if I'm going to move him. But again, I'm the Wizards. So what I'm actually going to do is hold on to Bradley Beal like I'm holding on to like you know what I'm saying, like you holding on to life. Okay, you're gonna have to pry Bradley Beal from my cold dead hand because I'm the Washington Wizards.
Take what you just said, Chandler. Take your worst teams in the league. Let's just go Sacramento, maybe Minnesota. They already know what direction they're going in. So are they going to invest 28, 30, $33 million in a guy for the next 3 years when they'll just become the Wizards? So when I didn't say that they will run properly. Let's just say hypothetically, you're looking long term before March 25th. The Knicks own 2 first-round picks next year. You're getting a good player in RJ Barrett. You're getting 2 players you could dump next year or keep, whatever you want to do. Maybe you can keep them on the cheap for a couple of years until these draft picks pan out. If you have any kind of business sense. Because what are you going to get back if you trade him to Minnesota? They're not going to take him, first of all, because they're strapped with Towns' contract. What's the point guard they got from the
left hand?
Russell?
Russell. D'Angelo Russell.
They're strapped with his contract, and they're not going nowhere. They're sort of like the Wizards with a worse record, believe it or not. With the salaries of Westbrook and Beal, you got Towns and I just said his name. Damn.
Russell.
The point
D'Angelo
guard.
Russell. D'Angelo Russell.
You're strapped with their contract. So somewhere in the back of their mind, they want to dump them. But at least they're in a position where they know they're going to get a good draft pick. The Wizards could walk away with 3 players, 2 picks, 2 players they could dump, a decent player in RJ Barrett, a young player. And now you can actually start from the beginning. Again, if you wait till next year, teams ain't going to be that high ho on it.
You're presuming that
I just
all
want
of
to
these
see the
teams
kid
want.
move.
Okay, but you're also presuming that all of these teams want to win. And we established a long time ago that is not the ultimate motivation for a lot of teams in professional sports. It's not their motivation.
Right.
It's not.
Well, we know the Knicks. We know the Knicks are in the win mode now.
Okay, but that doesn't mean the Wizards are. That doesn't mean the Wizards are.
Well, we know they're not. That's what I'm saying, Chandler. When you look at this beyond today, they're not going nowhere. They haven't gone nowhere with this guy. They're not drawing no people. So by you holding on to him, what are you getting? What is your return on it? And you still got 3 more years of this. You got to look at return.
Yeah. And then you got to look at what if Chicago starts looking to move Zach LaVine, because Chicago has got to understand that they got to go through a rebuild too, because they don't have. So if they start looking to move,
how's Chicago going to rebuild with?
They're gonna have to start looking to go through a rebuild, because they're not going anywhere. That's what I'm saying.
But at least to Bishop's point with Chicago, if Chicago did unload LaVine and go with a rebuild, they got good pieces moving forward already for a rebuild. So you add, let's say, an RJ Barrett. You add an RJ Barrett to that young core they have, and they're getting 2 more picks. That's right up their alley.
Who says they want to rebuild? Who says they want to rebuild besides you? For all you don't know what they think of that roster in that building. They might think they have something on the come.
What's their record
in that building?
What's their record?
It doesn't matter what their record is how they do their. Bishop, I'm gonna say this real slow. It doesn't matter. What matters is how they view the players, the pieces they have. And this is how teams get mismanaged, because when teams overvalue their players and think we have something when they really don't, okay, the teams stay stuck in the cycle that they're in. And we've seen historically. We've seen the Bulls.
And that's the bag Washington is in.
What I want to explain to you.
Bishop, okay, we'll move on.
Yeah. What I want to explain to you was no, Chicago never realized that Zach LaVine was going to turn out as good as he has. They didn't realize that that's what they were getting when they got Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine has grown
No, they knew what they were getting.
Zach
Yes, they
LaVine has
did.
grown.
That's why they gave him the contract.
Zach LaVine wasn't a 28-point scorer.
He's averaged 25 for them. And he's averaged 3 for them.
Yeah, but again, they didn't realize that they were getting that type of player when they got.
How did they not? What did
He's been there for 4 years.
Now that he's developed into this, you want to get the most that you can get for him because he doesn't fit with the team that they have there. He doesn't fit with the guys that they have there.
According to you, not according to them.
What's their record?
To their record too. I mean,
what's their record?
It doesn't matter if the team thinks they have the right pieces. Why is this hard for y'all?
No. So we're talking about basketball and you're talking about something else.
Yes, I'm talking about organizations mismanaging themselves because they think they have something, even though they may not. Hey, go ahead, Mac. You can move because we're gonna move on.
We're gonna move on. The San Antonio Spurs and LaMarcus Aldridge is gonna be the last topic of the night, and LaMarcus Aldridge mutually agreed to part ways. We know that wasn't a mutually parting of ways. Pop set him down. He's like, "Yo, man, you 35. You think you could start? This is the last year of your deal. We about to move you." What are y'all thoughts?
Who cares?
Yeah, Phoenix is licking their chops right now. Phoenix is licking their chops right now.
For him?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Dude, he can still give you buckets. He can still give you buckets.
Where's he playing? He
can still give you buckets. He still got that 15, 20 footer. He can still give you buckets, dude. Still give you buckets.
From where?
From the perimeter. From the perimeter. Sometimes in the post. Yo, LaMarcus Aldridge can still play. Just because he checked out in San Antonio, because San Antonio's system wasn't designed for him to get the touches that he is accustomed to getting.
No,
just because he checked out.
Don't do that, Bishop. Don't do that.
No.
So he was getting. They were running the offense through him.
Yes, they literally revamped their offense for him.
Not this year, but
not last year.
Last year, yes. Last year.
Not the year before. No, they were running the offense. They were running that motion offense because they had these young guards. They got these young guards, and they decided that that's what.
What young guards? They still got DeMar DeRozan, bro.
No, I'm talking about what's the kid? Is it
DeJounte Murray?
DeJounte Murray. They got another guard. They got two young guards. The other Wood, I think, another light-skinned dude with a sideshow bob hairdo.
The offense runs through DeMar DeRozan.
It wasn't running through Aldridge, is what I'm saying.
He gets 20 to 25 shots a night. He's getting his touches every night. Aldridge, he's getting his touches every night.
How long ago was that?
Yeah. Let's be a little honest, guys. When Aldridge went to the Spurs, I think it was only 5 minutes into this that they realized he wasn't going to be Tim Duncan.
Right.
Nope.
They thought they was getting something similar to that.
Yep.
So if Aldridge could move on, let's just say hypothetically to a Phoenix, where he could accept a lesser role and be maybe a 12 to 14 a night, 14 to 15 a night, he could help another team. Now, in this case, we already know they want to part ways. So where he goes, what role he's willing to accept, and how he fits in, that's the apple and the orange.
Well, Don, he didn't want to accept. He doesn't want to accept a lesser role in San Antonio. So,
well, that's what.
But who's he accepting? Who is he accepting a lesser role to?
Players better than him.
Who?
Pretty much everybody on that team is better than
on
him.
On that roster at that position, who's better than him?
Dude, LaMarcus Aldridge can play 30 minutes. You wouldn't even know he's on the court. Okay.
Yeah. Who's better than him on the Spurs?
Murray's better than him.
That's the kind of game. That's the kind of game he plays, though. But I'm only going to say this, guy, before I go. The one good thing with this case is we know they want to part ways.
Yeah.
So now, are they going to be cordial? And
they are being cordial,
right? I mean, as far as where he goes, or are they just going to release him and then he can go wherever he wants to go?
They're gonna buy him out.
That's the stigma that the Spurs aren't in. That's the stigma that DeMarcus Aldridge is going to be in. Because this is a no-brainer now, guys. They already come to the agreement. We're gonna part ways. Where he goes,
he won't be traded. He has a 15% trade kicker.
Right. They're gonna buy him out. Ain't nobody trading for that contract. They'll buy him out. And then
even though it's his last year also.
Yeah, ain't nobody trading for him, man. Come on. Nobody trading for that.
Right. So if somebody could pick him up on the waiver, wire, and again, this will be his choice. Once he reaches that fork in the road, let's say Phoenix, you're going to come off the bench. This is going to be your role. Now, I'm assuming they'll explain all of this to him before he decides he wants to go there, because now he's sort of like a free agent. He could pick and choose where he goes. Now, if he wants a bigger role and he's willing to go to, let's say, Sacramento, Washington, okay, that's on you. That shows me where your head is. You think you're still that guy when the team you're on don't think you're that guy. And he still may be better than most of their players. But the team is saying, hey, Mark, you gave us all you can. You've been all you can be. It's time to go our own separate ways.
But his best years have been playing with teams that had guard play that could get him the ball in the spots that he needs to get the ball in. So
the game's passed him by, Bishop.
But I'm saying the 15.
I think so.
The 15, 20
I think so.
He's 35. He has bad knees.
Has he been injury prone?
Yeah, the last 2 seasons he's had some surgery done in the offseason. He got bad knees. That's partly why he's been averaging like 20, 25 minutes a night.
10 points.
13.
And the funny thing, guys.
13 points. So you don't think he would take Frank the Tank, who giving you nothing?
But the funny thing is, though, Bishop, through all of that, the Spurs are still staying above water without him.
Right.
So again, not to rewind the tape, it's sort of the opposite boat that the Wizards are in. You're not going nowhere with this player who you can probably get some value for.
Right.
Where DeMarcus Aldridge is maybe upset that his role has diminished, probably with age and attrition and injuries, but the Spurs are still winning. I mean, they're not smoking water, but they're staying above water.
Well, that's because Pop is a great coach and his system runs like Novocaine. He just needs a stud or two. But
the one good thing about this case is he'll possibly, if he gets bought out, he'll be able to say, okay. And you know what I was thinking, guys?
Knicks?
Would it be a bad idea for him?
No.
I'm saying I wouldn't want him on the Knicks. No. I'm just saying. I will be honest. I didn't think the Chris Paul thing would work out. I thought maybe his better days were behind him. I got proven wrong. So I could be proven wrong with DeMarcus Aldridge. Can he give you a good stretch run?
2 different players in 2 different. Well, they both in the same point.
I'm just talking about what I thought they bring, Mark, at their age. Yeah. I just
listen,
thought at Chris Paul's age.
I'm gonna say this. I've never been a LaMarcus Aldridge fan.
Nope.
Because he just it's sort of like he wasted some of his talent. Because on paper, he's one of the most talented power forwards we've seen in a while. And he just plays meh.
So you mean to tell me he's played really effective his whole career at that pick and roll because he got a 15, 20 footer. You mean to tell me you don't think he would be able to play well with like a Chris Paul? Or I don't see how he would fit with Portland. But a team like
he can't expect to be the man. And
no, but I'm just saying,
really, he's never been the man. I mean, he got cute statistics.
But I'm saying, just imagine him with Booker in a pick and roll.
So let me ask you this.
or with Chris Paul in the pick and roll. You got to pick your poison.
Let me ask you this: how has it looked in San Antonio since Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Ginobili and Kawhi left him? Y'all got quiet. Why y'all quiet? Why?
It hasn't looked good.
Why? He's supposed to be the man, right?
Right.
It hasn't looked good. But when you
Aldridge, ain't nothing
when you look at, but I'm saying when you look at the roster and the guards that they've had, when you look at the roster and the guards that they've had since these guys left, none of these guys are like pick and roll type guards. Like they all want to shoot threes.
So you saying he's limited?
Who? LaMarcus Aldridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, in that pocket that you need him in a half court set.
No,
that's not limited.
Saying he's limited. Period.
Well,
if you're
asking him, he's not going to be a forward that's going to create off the dribble. Is what I'm saying. He's not going to be a forward that's.
He's never been there.
How would he look coming off the bench in Philly?
Not good.
No.
They don't have a guard though. They don't have maybe
to get on the ball.
Maybe if they did that pick and roll, but then they would all flash to him because they know Simmons can't shoot. So it's got to be a situation. It's got to be a situation where the shoot.
However you try to spin it, Bishop, he's not that guy.
Nope.
Right, but even what Bishop said, at least with the Sixers, even if you run a pick and roll and they collapse on him, they still got good wing players. They still got Harris. They still got Curry. I'm just throwing shit out there to see if it'll stick on the wall because his options are going to be limited.
And it doesn't stick.
Find out.
Y'all frustrated Chandler.
I don't see how. I'm saying I don't see how he fits in any team in the East. He's always played out West because he doesn't really play defense like that.
Right.
But I mean, in a situation like with Phoenix, where he can be that pick and pop guy. Because right now, who do they have in that spot? They got Frank Kaminsky in that spot. They got Frank Kaminsky.
You just said he was limited again.
And they're the number 2 team, and they're the number 2 team in the West with Frank Kaminsky. So what I'm saying, listen, LaMarcus,
he's not an integral part of what they're doing though. If you got another 10 points, off the bench, you don't think that would be good?
No, because LaMarcus Aldridge is not a piece that any of the contending teams need.
Okay.
He's not. He's unnecessary for any of the contending teams. He's unnecessary.
All right.
Because based on the fact that one, he don't rebound. Because if nothing else, I need you. If you come off the bench as a big man, I need you to rebound. Okay. He ain't doing that.
Don't do that.
He ain't playing no defense. I need you to do that because you come off the bench. I need you to make sure that the score remains the same or increases. Okay.
So let me ask you this.
Coming off the bench.
So let me ask you this. Then you don't think like if he was in the game and you got the young dude Ayton who's rebounding and you give space in that area because now they got to move out to guard this dude because he can hit a 15-20 footer. They got to come out and guard him. They got to respect him. You don't think that would help Ayton rebound more and become a better player? No. Okay.
No. I think LaMarcus Aldridge is a detriment
here's the big,
to any team he goes to.
Here's the thing Chandler tapped on, which is great. Here we go again with addition and subtraction. With the way they're playing, you could say what you want about Kaminsky. Somehow, some way, it's working. And do they want to upend the apple cart?
It's no room for him. They got Jay Crowder there. It's no room for him on Phoenix.
Nope.
Especially knowing they got the second best record in the West. I mean, again, you've gone this far. We're halfway done with the season. So the likelihood of the Suns dropping to a 5th or 6th seed is kind of highly unlikely right now. So if you've been doing that well with the pieces you have, again, why would you want to upset the apple cart? It's again the opposite of the Wizards and Beal. They don't have an apple cart. The Suns have an apple cart, and it's been working so far. But the good thing is he'll get released, and he'll get to see who actually wants him.
Sacramento,
and then he gets
the team that needs him. The team that could really use him is Sacramento. Yeah. That's the team that could use him.
Nowhere either, but hey.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if you look at his
38
skill set,
games.
if you look at his skill set and where he would actually fit, the best fit for him is Sacramento. Now he ain't gonna want to go to Sacramento, but that's the best fit because they got a lot of guard play. The what's my man name? Bagley, Marvin Bagley, right? He tends to kind of drift and isn't as consistent as he could be yet, but he's still. So now you have Aldridge. You got these guards who love to shoot. Now you put him in a pick and roll with Buddy Hield. Okay, you put him in a pick and roll with Buddy Hield. That's now you want to talk about somebody not being able to collapse. You want to talk about opening up the offense. You put him in a pick and roll with Buddy Hield.
You're saying so. I said Devin Booker. I said Chris Paul would be getting him the ball like that. Devin Booker, and you and the other guards that they have coming off the bench, and you telling me about him going to Sacramento and playing
because he doesn't fit in Phoenix, but he fits in Sacramento. Because he doesn't fit in Phoenix, but he fits in Sacramento.
What's Sacramento's record? Sacramento is worse than worse than San Antonio.
I'm not 24.
I'm talking about a basketball fit. No, I understand that, but we talking about where he would fit. He don't fit in Phoenix, bro.
All right.
Well, again, guys, the bottom line is
we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Yeah.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see who thinks that he could fit there. Yeah.
And with
that's
that,
the great
fellas,
thing. He'll get to choose where he goes.
Yep. And with that, we're gonna have to end it tonight.
Because you don't want to talk about them stupid Jets and Joe Douglas that you was wrong about.
I'm about to. We'll probably be on tomorrow, Chandler, so we can talk about that.
You know what that means.
This is In the Paint. This has been In the Paint, really showing sports. I'm Max 611. My brother R couldn't be with us tonight.
Thank God.
Well, he should be back with us maybe tomorrow.
Say bye, baby. Bye, baby.
Bye, doggy. And again, check us out tomorrow. It's In the Paint, the really showing sports. Follow us on Twitter at In the Paint Media. Follow me on Twitter at The Real Max 611 and follow the other guy at Real R Jones. Peace, y'all.
Peace.